You might believe that remembering every small, seemingly insignificant detail about someone is merely an unconscious habit, a trivial quirk of the mind. But the truth is far more profound. Each time he recalls the type of tea you favor, the book you once paused mid-sentence, or the offhand remark you made on a rainy afternoon, he is placing a fragment of his heart into that moment with you, silently, yet completely. It is as if his memory itself becomes a vessel for his care, carrying weight far beyond what appears on the surface. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." In these small acts of remembering, there is a shadow revealed, a subtle consciousness of the other's essence. Each detail he holds on to is not merely observation. It is an intimate act of recognition, a way of seeing the hidden layers of your being and responding to them with care. You may have felt it yourself, the surprise, the quiet bewilderment, the tiny shock when he brings up something you thought forgotten. That fleeting moment of recognition, that pang of curiosity. Does he really notice, or is he just being polite? It is a question that lingers, a whisper of uncertainty that presses gently against your heart. The tension between the surface simplicity of the act and the depth of its meaning can leave you both enchanted and unsettled. You may not yet understand the full weight of what is being communicated, the silent devotion embedded in every remembered detail. Yet, we are not here to judge, to dictate how you should feel, or to tell you what actions to take. This is a space of observation, of gentle reflection. Together, we will witness these gestures, explore their resonance, and allow understanding to emerge, not from obligation or expectation, but from the quiet recognition of what they reveal. We will listen without pressing, observe without interference, and in doing so, we grant ourselves the rare gift of insight. At the heart of this exploration lies a concept from Jungian psychology, Anima and Animus. These inner figures, representations of our unconscious feminine and masculine energies, are often expressed through the people we encounter and the connections we form. When he remembers these details, it is more than attention. It is a dialogue between his unconscious and yours, a silent conversation of respect, care, and recognition. Through these small acts, he communicates something vast without uttering a single word. This journey we are about to take will unravel the layers hidden within what appears to be a simple act of remembering. Step by step, we will explore the psychological currents beneath these gestures, revealing their hidden dimensions. By the end, you will not only see these behaviors in a new light, but you will also glimpse reflections of your own heart, its hidden vulnerabilities, its quiet joys, and its capacity for understanding. The path may lead to revelation, perhaps even liberation, from the confusion that often accompanies the subtle, profound language of the small things. At first glance, remembering the smallest details may appear trivial, almost inconsequential. The color of the scarf you wore on a windy afternoon, the melody that drifted from a cafe where you once lingered, the way your hands fidget when lost in thought. These are tiny fragments, almost invisible in the rush of daily life. Yet, these seemingly minor acts of remembrance carry a weight that transcends mere attention. They are the quiet threads that weave the tapestry of connection, binding one soul to another with a subtle, persistent force. Consider the simplicity of his attentiveness. He recalls the type of tea that warms you on a winter evening, notices the pen you reach for when inspiration strikes, or gently reminds you of a fleeting memory you thought long forgotten. Each of these acts is more than mere observation. It is a conscious, or perhaps unconscious, choice to honor your presence, to recognize your individuality, and to mark your existence as significant in his mind. Imagine each detail as a grain of sand along the shore of your shared emotional landscape. Alone, it may seem insignificant, easily overlooked, but together, these grains accumulate, forming beaches of intimacy and landscapes of care. The weight of these small acts lies not in their visibility, but in their persistence, their constancy, and their quiet insistence on being remembered. They are the subtle markers of a heart attuned to yours, a soul listening closely for the notes that compose your essence. As we move deeper, we will explore how these surface-level observations are merely the first layer. Beneath them lies a complex interplay of memory, unconscious resonance, and emotional significance, all orchestrated by forces within him that reach beyond conscious awareness. Here, in these small details, we begin to glimpse the vastness of care, the depth of attention, and the quiet poetry of a heart that sees and cherishes what often goes unnoticed. Beneath the surface of remembered details lies a rich psychological landscape, shaped by both conscious attention and unconscious resonance. Our minds are intricate repositories, storing not just facts, but emotional imprints, subtle cues, and traces of shared moments. When he recalls the way you wrinkle your nose at a bitter coffee, or the fleeting sparkle in your eye when you mention a long-forgotten dream, it is not random. These memories are collected and preserved with a devotion that speaks to the unconscious mind at work. In Jungian terms, this is where complexes come into play. A complex is a constellation of emotions, memories, and associations clustered around a theme or a person, often operating outside of conscious awareness. His act of remembering your small details can be seen as a living manifestation of a relational complex, an internal pattern that binds his attention, his feelings, and his perceptions of you into a cohesive, though largely unseen, network of significance. Each detail becomes a node in this intricate web, linking thought, emotion, and unconscious intention. Consider the analogy of an invisible musician, hands gliding across a silent piano, creating a melody that only the intended listener can hear. Each note is deliberate, yet subtle. Each pause is meaningful. Similarly, every recollection of yours is a note in a symphony composed in his unconscious, echoing across the shared space between your psyches. These small details are not merely remembered. They are integrated, layered with emotion and awareness, forming an intricate map of his inner experience in relation to you. Memory in this context is not a passive recording device, but an active agent of connection. It shapes perception, informs behavior, and allows unconscious energies to express themselves in tangible ways. When he recalls the minutiae of your life, he is not only demonstrating attentiveness, he is enacting an unconscious dialogue, a subtle choreography between your anima and his animus, between conscious experience and the deeper currents of feeling that flow beneath the surface. Through understanding this psychological mechanism, we begin to see the profound depth hidden within acts that seem simple on the surface. Each remembered detail is a window into the unseen workings of his inner world, a delicate bridge between observation and emotional attunement, a testament to the powerful interplay of unconscious forces and conscious care. There is a quiet alchemy in the act of remembering small, seemingly trivial details about someone. What appears as simple attentiveness on the surface is, in truth, a profound gesture of the heart. Each tiny memory, whether it is the way you tilt your head when thinking, the laugh that escapes at an unremarkable joke, or the phrase you favor without realizing it, carries an emotional weight far beyond its apparent significance. In these moments, he is not simply noticing, he is internalizing, weaving these fragments of your being into the fabric of his own emotional landscape. These small recollections are transformed into a kind of silent poetry, where meaning is not dictated by logic, but by the resonance of feeling. To him, you are not a series of disconnected actions or words. You are an entire composition, the living tapestry whose threads he is quietly tracing. Each remembered detail reinforces a sense of intimacy, a recognition that you, in your wholeness, are profoundly present in his inner world. His memory is not passive. It is an active celebration of your being, a devotion expressed without fanfare. In Jungian terms, this process engages both the persona and the shadow. The persona, the face he presents to the world, is shaped subtly by these observations. He adjusts, attunes, and responds in ways that harmonize with the reality of who you are. The shadow, that hidden part of himself, is also engaged. Through these small acts, he confronts, integrates, and expresses the parts of himself that find resonance with your presence. In essence, the act of remembering becomes a bridge between his conscious intentions and the deeper, often unseen currents of his psyche. Love, in this context, is not a grand gesture or dramatic declaration. It is the quiet insistence of memory, the insistence that the smallest parts of you matter, because you in totality matter. By holding on to the nuances of your life, he communicates a truth far larger than words. You are seen, you are valued, and you are deeply embedded in the rhythm of his consciousness. In every remembered detail, the simple becomes sacred, and the small becomes the vessel for a profound emotional truth. When he remembers the smallest details without prompt, it is not merely habit. It is a pattern that reveals his inner attentiveness and the rhythm of his heart. Observe closely. Does he recall the same nuances repeatedly, over weeks and months, even when you never mention them again? Does he notice the quiet shifts in your mood, the unspoken preferences, the fleeting gestures that pass almost unnoticed by the world? These repetitions are not trivial. They are the subtle markers of a consciousness attuned to your existence in a way that transcends ordinary observation. Patterns are the fingerprints of emotional investment. In them, you can discern the difference between courteous acknowledgement and genuine care. The first is transactional, surface level, fleeting. The second is recursive, intimate, and deeply woven into his inner life. By paying attention to these rhythms, you begin to see the underlying architecture of his devotion, the invisible scaffolding upon which his recognition of you rests. Each repeated detail, each attentive recollection, functions as a beacon. They illuminate the dark corners of relational ambiguity, offering clarity where doubt might otherwise flourish. Just as a lighthouse guides a ship through fog and tempest, these small but consistent acts guide the heart toward a deeper understanding of his intentions and his attachment to you. There is a quiet poetry in noticing these patterns, a rhythm that mirrors the ebb and flow of shared consciousness. They are not merely the accumulation of remembered facts. They are a language, an intimate dialect composed of micro-gestures and gentle attentiveness. Through these signs, he communicates presence, care, and continuity, a steady affirmation that you are seen, valued, and woven into the fabric of his daily thought. By learning to discern these intimate patterns, you cultivate your own awareness of relational depth. You begin to recognize the distinction between performative courtesy and authentic emotional resonance. In doing so, you open a door to deeper connection, a space where small details are not overlooked, but celebrated, and where the quiet constancy of memory becomes a vessel of profound, living affection. When he recalls the small intricacies of your life, it does more than reveal his attentiveness. It becomes a mirror, reflecting back fragments of yourself you may not have fully acknowledged. The memory of your favorite book, the subtle turn of a phrase you once said in passing, or the way you laugh at a certain joke, does more than show that he notices. It reflects your own significance in ways that are often invisible to you. Through these reflections, you are confronted with your own shadow, the parts of your psyche that remain unseen, unexamined, or unvalued. In noticing how he pays attention, you may realize which elements of yourself you have neglected or overlooked, those small truths that yearn for acknowledgement. The details he remembers act as an external echo of your internal world, inviting you to recognize, accept, and integrate aspects of yourself that linger quietly beneath the surface. This reflection can stir discomfort, for the shadow often carries unprocessed emotions, insecurities, or desires. Yet, it can also awaken gratitude, wonder, and appreciation. His attention to minute particulars holds a transformative power. It illuminates the subtle yet profound ways in which you matter, not only to him, but also to yourself. Each remembered detail becomes a bridge, connecting the conscious awareness of your traits, quirks, and hidden tendencies with the unconscious recognition of their importance. In this way, small acts of memory transcend mere romantic interest. They become instruments of psychological insight. They offer a rare opportunity to perceive the contours of your own inner world with greater clarity. The shadow, long concealed in obscurity, now finds expression through his attentiveness. And in recognizing it, you gain a deeper understanding of your own complexity and wholeness. As you observe and reflect on these patterns, allow yourself to receive the subtle message embedded in his memory, that the seemingly trivial, the overlooked, and the ephemeral hold immense value because they carry the weight of recognition, care, and ultimately love. In these quiet moments, the mirror of attention reveals both him and you, intertwined in a dance of subtle awareness and mutual acknowledgement. Each time he remembers a minute detail about you, it is not merely an act of attentiveness. It is an invitation to witness the unfolding of a deeper understanding. These small gestures are doorways, subtle openings into the vast interior of human connection, where observation transforms into awareness and awareness into insight. They are reminders that the heart communicates in whispers, not in proclamations, and that significance often dwells in the unnoticed. In observing these patterns, you are offered a chance to reflect upon your own perception and presence. How often do you notice the details of those around you? How often do you allow yourself to fully see and appreciate them? His memory becomes a catalyst, a gentle prod, encouraging you to cultivate awareness of the nuanced language of love and care that exists beyond grand declarations. Each recollection, each moment of attentive recall is a subtle lesson in the art of relational mindfulness. These small actions are also markers of trust and psychological safety. By attending to the particulars of your life, he signals that he values not just the visible, immediate self, but the intricate and hidden facets that comprise your essence. And in witnessing this, you are called to open yourself, to embrace vulnerability, and to recognize the layers of your own being with equal care. The process is transformative. It shifts the focus from mere observation to active engagement with the subtleties of emotional life. Consider these details as building blocks of connection, each one a stone carefully laid to form the foundation of understanding, intimacy, and mutual respect. Just as a painter layers brushstrokes to create a masterpiece, he layers memories, attentive recollections, and small acknowledgments to craft a landscape of care in which both of you exist. Through this, you begin to perceive not only him, but yourself in a new light. You start to understand the depth of your own responses, the hidden currents of attachment, and the quiet ways in which love imprints itself upon daily life. In embracing this journey, you are invited to recognize that awareness itself is transformative. The smallest gestures carry within them the power to illuminate, to reveal, and to cultivate psychological and emotional growth. What begins as a simple act of memory becomes a shared voyage into the essence of connection, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and the unnoticed becomes indispensable. Through his attentiveness, the ordinary moments of life are suffused with meaning, and in recognizing this, you discover the profound truth that every detail, however small, contributes to the wholeness of your shared human experience. There is a quiet poetry woven into the act of remembering, a delicate rhythm that whispers between hearts without the need for spoken words. Each small detail he recalls, your favorite melody, the way you tilt your head when thinking, the story you have forgotten, becomes a syllable in a language crafted solely for you. It is a language of intimacy, composed not of grand gestures, but of attentive moments that accumulate, layer upon layer, until they form a symphony of understanding and care. Consider the nature of this poetry. It is subtle, almost imperceptible to the casual observer, yet profoundly moving to the one who receives it. Each remembered fragment is a line in a shared narrative, a brushstroke in the portrait of your connection, a note in a melody that resonates within the chambers of the heart. These are the quiet acts that reveal depth, where memory and intention meet, allowing him to convey devotion in its purest form. Through this lens, the interplay of Anima and Animus becomes tangible. His unconscious engagement with your presence, the attentive recollection of your nuances, is an expression of his inner world interacting with yours. It is an enactment of the dialogue between consciousness and the hidden self, where what is remembered is more than factual. It is the reflection of significance, the acknowledgement of your essence. Each detail is a mirror, reflecting not only who you are to him, but also who he is when fully present to another soul. The shadow also plays its part in this poetic dance. In the quiet observation of these details, both of you are invited to confront what remains unacknowledged within yourselves. His attentiveness illuminates the corners of your perception, the areas where perhaps you have neglected to fully see or appreciate the intricacies of your own being. The memory of small things becomes a gentle mirror, reflecting your capacity to receive, to recognize, and to respond with gratitude and care. Persona, too, is interwoven here. The manner in which he expresses attention through memory reveals the alignment between his inner authenticity and the face he presents in your presence. It is a performance without pretense, a harmonization of self and relationship, where the subtle act of remembering becomes both an expression of care and a testament to psychological integration. Ultimately, these small gestures, these remembered details, converge into a subtle yet profound symphony, a poetry of the everyday, a love language composed of attentiveness, respect, and reflection. Each recall is a stanza, each recognition a refrain, each gesture an echo that reverberates through the shared space between you. And in witnessing this, you come to understand that love is often spoken not in declarations, but in the sustained attention to the little things, the moments that, when strung together, reveal the vastness of care and the depth of human connection. Through this journey, the language of memory transforms from mere observation into a living testament to intimacy. It is the quiet poetry of attention, a narrative that unfolds in the small, deliberate acts that accumulate into the architecture of a profound, enduring bond. In these details, you witness the truth of his regard, that to him, you are not simply a passing presence, but everything, the central motif around which the poetry of his memory and the music of his heart revolve. When you step back and observe the tapestry of details he remembers, you may notice a subtle shift within yourself. What was once perceived as mere attentiveness now reveals layers of intention, care, and devotion. Yet the deeper revelation is not only about him, it is also about you. How do you respond to this quiet poetry of memory? Do you feel astonished, unsettled, or quietly elated? These reactions are windows into your own shadow, exposing the parts of yourself that crave recognition, that fear vulnerability, or that have longed to be seen and understood. Consider this. Each remembered detail is a mirror held up to your own heart. The way you receive it, the way it stirs emotion within you, reflects patterns, unmet needs, and the contours of your own anima or animus. It invites you to examine the subtle currents of your inner world, to notice the tenderness you may withhold, and to acknowledge the places where your consciousness has yet to meet your own hidden depths. In essence, his memory of you becomes a silent teacher, guiding you towards self-reflection and deeper understanding. I invite you now to engage with this reflection. Think of the moments when someone remembered something so seemingly trivial, yet profoundly meaningful. What did it stir within you? Share in the comments the small details that moved you, the moments that opened a window into your own heart. How did these gestures illuminate the parts of yourself that long for connection, recognition, or tenderness? Your insights are not merely stories. They are explorations of the unconscious patterns that shape how you relate to others and to yourself. As we conclude this journey, remember that the smallest acts often carry the greatest weight. If this exploration has offered you a new perspective, if it has awakened a sense of curiosity or recognition within your heart, honor it by staying connected. Like this video if it resonated with you. Subscribe to continue walking this path of insight, and press the bell so that you never miss an opportunity to uncover the quiet, profound language woven into human behavior. Together, we will continue to explore the intricate dance of memory, emotion, and unconscious dialogue that shapes the depth of our connections and the richness of our lives.